Testing. 1, 2, 3. Check. Check. Hello again, everybody. I'm Larry Hamilton. Welcome to my YouTube painting channel. Thank you for watching. Today we're going to do a watercolor painting, and it's an interesting scene from Central Park in New York City. And it's an evening scene and a winter scene, so hope we can do it justice. I have a nice photograph here to work from, but it is a very kind of a dark and cool scene. I've done a few things I want to show you. I've got some of this already prepped here, a little more than I would typically do, but because of the nature of this type of painting, it needs some extra work ahead of time. So I'm going to go over to the computer. I'm going to show you some photos of what I've done to prep the paper so far, and then I'll come back and we'll go through the paints and the brushes and we'll get started. So hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, here we are at my computer, and this is the original scene, and as you can see, it's got a lot of white in it, a lot of shades of blue and shades of gray, and some very pretty interesting colors. But because of the way this photo is made, it's a little bit of a challenge for watercolor. So I'm going to go through some techniques that I'm going to demonstrate today to show you what I've done to try to make this painting come to life. And so I want to show you here. Here's the grid. You can barely see the grid lines. They're pretty light, but they're there. And this image is out on my website, so you can go get the sketch and this grid and so forth off of my website. The links are down below this video, so you should be able to click on them. The black and white image, I always take the color out and look at this. This really shows you where the darkest darks are, where the lightest lights are. And you can see we've got some kind of mist and fog in the background here, in the middle ground, I guess, before you see the buildings and those facades. I also have a sketch that I've made. I've tried to simplify it. I took a lot of the stuff out of this sketch, just sort of give me some guidelines to show me where the lights are and where the buildings would be and where the bridge is and that sort of thing, the reflections in the water. And so what I did to start this was I started out by using my liquid masking fluid, and here's a step one sketch, I guess, that shows the liquid masking I put on with a paintbrush, or with a fine detailed rigger brush. And so I've got that put on. I let that dry. Then I came back and put a very light wash of this sort of a bluish color. This is really ultramarine blue. Just put a wash of ultramarine blue over the whole thing. And so the only thing that's going to be white now is what's under these, where you see the masking fluid right here. When I peel that off, that'll still be white. That'll be the whitest white. And that'll be where the snow is. But what I did on top of that, then I came back after that dried. I let that dry completely. And then I used my fine liner masking fluid again with this special, almost like a needle point tip on it. And it's really hard to see, but down here in the lower right, all this brush and bushes and stuff, and the snow on the leaves or the branches of the trees, I put a coating over that. So that particular, what's under that part of the masking fluid is going to be this bluish underpainting. So with that, that's how I've got it prepped so far. It's fully dry and it's up on the easel. So I'll go back over to the easel now and I'll go through my paints and brushes. I got a couple things I want to show you about the paints, and we'll get started. So hang on. Okay, here I am back at the easel, and we're ready to go through the paints and brushes, and I'll show you my palette here. And I need to tell you there's been a couple changes made to the palette. Two colors have been replaced, and I'll show you my palette here now. This is the Sterling Edwards palette. You know, if you watched me watercolors before, you know I use this particular palette. I use Sterling's brushes, these bristle brushes. I have these. I also have a nylon brush that's very soft. I'll probably use that now since I already have this painting already started when I've already put paint on it. If I use those bristle brushes, I'll be picking up this background. So if I want to put any areas, make it soft, I'll probably use this nylon brush. I also have my two other nylon brushes, my 1" and a 1/2" flat. I have my three rounds. I have a 12, 8, and a 4 round. I have my script liner. You also see a screwdriver here in my palette. I want to tell you about that because we changed 2 colors in this palette, and I followed really Sterling Edwards' idea, and I agree with what he has said. He changed his palette, and 2 of the colors are the one that's called green gray that you've heard me talk about in this position, and the one that was over here was called royal blue. So he took those both out of his palette and he replaced them with Prussian blue and Hooker's green. So my fear was, how am I going to get those paints out, and I'm going to make a mess out of my palette doing it. But these Holbein paints are so interesting, they kind of stick together. This is what was in this particular slot. I used my screwdriver and just sort of went around the edge very easily and just lifted it right out of there. It all stayed together as one clump. The same with the royal blue. I took it out of this slot, and by using this just a simple screwdriver, I didn't have to scrape. I didn't have a lot of paint left over. I had a few little spots I just had to wash out, but it was very easy to get that paint out, and I think that's a tribute to the way the Holbein paint works, the way it sticks together. So if you want to change your palette and follow this, you'll replace your green gray with Hooker's green, and you'll replace your royal blue with Prussian blue. These are, again, Holbein paints. So these I'll be throwing away, but I was really happy to see it come out of the palette like that, and just sort of be one clump, and they all stuck together. It's real rubber. It's almost like rubber, but you put water on it, and it really turns to nice, soft paint. So that's that. You saw me talk about the masking fluid. I use this with my small script liner brush here to put in some of the first part of the masking, and then I use this fine liner applicator. It has a fine tip, and it comes out of this bottle, and it has a nice real sharp point on it, and so it lets me do this some nice let me zoom in here and let me show you what I'm talking about. It lets me do these it's really hard to see it, but I'm going to zoom way in and let you see what I'm talking about. These areas here that have really the fine detail, and I want to see some of those. I want to paint some dark over that, then I'll peel that off, and I'll have this bluish color that's sort of the underpainting here, the first glaze, first wash. So anyway, that's the paints, the brushes, the masking fluid, and I'm also going to probably experiment with some of my sponges. I have these sea sponges. These are ocean sponges or sea sponges, and they're going to be good, I think. I'm going to try it. I hope I don't screw it up, but they're going to be good for painting some of the dark places around the trees up here in this area where I've got trees. I'll be using these to sort of spot in some of the darker paint. I'll leave the color of the paper to be the snow in shadow. So we'll be experimenting with that. I hope I don't mess it up. What else? I think that's about all I want to cover with you now. I want to get my paper aligned here and make sure everybody can see it. Since we're live, I want to try to make sure I can show you the palette while I'm painting, and you can see what paints I'm taking. Okay, so I think that's pretty close right there. Hold it right there. All right. Got that ready to go. Okay, so with that said, let's get going. I've got, like I said, you can see this is my masking that I've put in for the windows in the dark, and so I'm going to paint some dark washes over that to sort of make it look like it's darker. I don't know how much I'm going to wet this paper. If I wet it, Fabriano Artistico paper is really good for lifting, so I can actually lift off the paint if I'm not careful. That's why I'm a little reluctant to use my bristle brushes on this particular step. So I'm going to put just a little of this, just clear water in this area here. I don't want to do too much of it because it will dissolve that paint that's on the paper and start lifting it off. So I'm just going to do this, and I think I'll stop right there maybe. This area between the buildings, well, I guess I want this area between the buildings to be a little softer as well, so I'll just come down there like that. Okay, not much water at all, and so I want to now come back. I'm probably going to use primarily ultramarine blue for almost this whole painting. There are some areas over here that had a little bit of like a little alizarin crimson in it, so I'll probably come back and hit some of that with alizarin to sort of warm it up a little bit, even though alizarin's not a warm color. As you can see now, you can see the darker trees coming through there, and not the darker trees, the masking. You can see it show up now because I've darkened this whole thing down. And I'm going to just darken it right down to the top of this bridge. And we'll keep it soft. And having that water in there, putting that water layer on there does help keep it soft. So I'm going to come back and just keep doing this for this area here. I want it to all sort of fit together, and I want it to run together and be soft. I think I want it a little bit darker maybe. Actually, I don't want it a lot darker because I'm going to be coming back with some darker colors and trying to use this as the light color of the snow. So I don't want to make it too dark. I don't want to have dark blue snow. All right, so I think that's about all I want to do there. I may come back and touch that up again a little bit, but I'm going to have a lot of tree branches and stuff out in here, and those I want to have this sort of this color for the snow. It's going to lighten up. Maybe it looks too dark right now to you, but it will lighten up. All right, let's come over here and see if we can pick up. I didn't go through the colors with you, did I? I just now realized I didn't show you my whole palette. Why don't I stop and do that right now? You saw me using ultramarine blue. Let me bring this palette back up, and I'll tell you that the colors are Payne's Gray, Cobalt Blue, Ultramarine Blue Deep, Cobalt Blue, Ultramarine Deep. This is new Prussian Blue that we just put in, Permanent Violet, Hooker's Green, Umber, Burnt Sienna, Quinacridone Scarlet, Bright Rose, Brilliant Orange, Quinacridone Gold, Permanent Yellow Deep, and Cad Lemon Yellow. Probably not going to use hardly any of those colors, so I really don't know why I had to tell you that. I may even take it out on the final editing of this video. But anyway, that's the whole palette, and I'm going to be primarily working with my ultra blue here, and be adding just a little bit of the scarlet in there to get just a little bit of a different color for some of the buildings here. They do have a little bit of a reddish cast to them. So that's almost too dark. Let's get some more water in there, and now I haven't wet any of this all over here. I'm going to lighten it up just a little. Okay. And then on the other side of this over here, I want this to be more blue. Try to give you the architecture of these buildings a little bit if I can. And then a much lighter blue over here. Okay. So you're starting to see the buildings come out. I may have to put another coat on that. I don't know. It may not be dark enough to show the light up. Down in here we do have some actual trees that I think they're covered in snow maybe. I don't know. I'm going to put just a little bit of this, a little bit more of this ultra blue right in here, and darken it down just a little. Some over here maybe. Like that. Okay. And over here, I don't know what I'm going to do there yet. Let's think about that. I got some, it's running a little bit right there. Pick it up. Okay. I'm going to let that dry. I want to get this, I don't want a hard edge here. See the hard edge forming? I don't know if you could see that very well, but it was a hard edge starting to form. I want that to be softer in there. And I want it to look like some trees and that sort of stuff. Just tap it in. Like that. Maybe tap a few more things in here like this. Let it get a few hard edges in some spots, but pretty much I want it to be just whatever I leave on the paper here. Okay. All right. Trying to see if I'm getting the colors right here. Pretty close. All right. Over here on this side, I've got more of this blue. I think I'm going to darken it down maybe a little more, maybe more like this color over here in terms of value. While I'm at it, I think I want it to be really soft. I'm going to put just a very light wash with this big brush over here. Just clear water and let it soak in the paper for just a few seconds, and then come back with my 1-inch brush. So far I'm only using a 1-inch brush. I'm getting a little hard edge right there forming where the masking fluid is. Okay, let's get this. I'll throw a little bit of this other color in here. I want to pull that color out a little bit. This is down to the snow level on the ground. And so I just want to make it sort of fade and blend together here. So you can see there's a distinct line here that's going to indicate the building, and that's it. So I'm doing this for the first time, folks. I have not practiced this. I have not done anything to pre-paint this, if you will. Let's see here. Just a there, you can see those buildings lighting up a little bit now. Okay. Over here on this other one, over here, it's still wet, so I have to be very careful. I go back in there too much, I'm going to really mess it up. So I want to be careful with that. Don't screw it up too much. Hi, Greg. Good to see you. Just have a little more. Okay. I use this bristle brush to take out some of those edges. A bit of a damp. Okay. And I'm going to go back and just hit this side here. Let me go do this side first. I want to go make this, I don't want to step into that area that's got wet on both sides. That's wet, so I don't want to step in there right now. I'm going to come back and hit this particular part of the building here next. Okay. And make it just a little lighter maybe. Okay. At least you can see the lights. Now we get very dark down here in the bottom. Actually, this is still snow here that I want to portray along here. It comes down and runs down to the water level. Just going to run it out here like that. This is going to dry quite a bit lighter, so I'm not too worried about it looking. If it looks too dark right now, that's probably about right. I don't know. Got some snow here. This comes out as a little peninsula like underneath the bridge. And okay. That's really dark. We got snow over here. I might as well go hit this side over here while I got this in my brush. Of course, what I've got in my brush is all ultra blue pretty much. Let's see here. It's going to be dark here. This comes down like right in here. Here's the snowbank here. Coming down like that. So let's just put a coating of that all the way across here to the water's edge. Okay, just another little wash and keep it soft. This corner, I'm going to darken this corner down just a little bit just to try to keep your eye in the painting so it doesn't drift off. That. Okay. Because I'm painting vertically, all this paint just kind of runs right down to the bottom of wherever it can get a stopping place. If that happens to be on the top of my frisket up here, that's where it'll stop or whatever. So I'm going to come back and just touch in a little bit more. I think this is a little drier now. I can maybe hit that with a bit of lighter color maybe. Let me see, put plenty of water in that to be light. Lighter than what's there. That's about, well, that's probably about right because it will dry. Lighter. I just did that and had the palette over it. Okay. So you can see the distinction between those buildings. You can actually see the plane change so that it definitely tells you it's an architectural element there that is making it obvious for you. one more time. Quick, quick, quick. All right. Okay, where are we here? I think I'm about ready to start on this bridge, and it's really in the photos. It's really just almost black, really dark. So I'm going to use my Payne's gray and some of my ultra blue. Get a much darker ultra blue, and let's see in here. So far we're using a 1-inch brush only. All right, let's change the color a little bit if we can. Darker, a little darker, change the value. Something like that. Probably not dark enough. I always have to work to get my colors dark enough. When I go back and look at the photograph and look at what I painted, it always seems to be, could have used it, could have made it darker. So let's just put another little bead across here and let it work down. Okay, I'm going to get some running right here. And I have another little sliver over here that just sort of sticks out like this on the other side of this tree. And there's some dark places in here. It's like a little fence of some kind back here, in among the other trees and stuff going on back here. Gonna hit those with my brush very lightly and just let it pull off what it will. These are some other trees and other things that are sitting over here sort of in the shadows, like. And by painting with the flat side of the brush, I'm giving that very airy, light, airy look. It also kind of closes off this edge of the paper so that looks like there's a whole lot of trees in there coming over. I don't know how accurate that is compared to the real thing out there, but do the same little thing right in here somewhere. Like right in here. All right. Because this is dry, I can come back on top of it now and just scumble in these trees that are in shadow, right? So scumbling is where you just let the paper take off whatever it will, and these are very nice, interesting So it looks like there's trees back there. You can't tell too much. I'm just going to put a few, maybe some little stamps with my brush there to make you think there's something going on. Even over here I may put in a few, put in some very light looking things. Hard for you to see that probably, but anyway, it just sort of finishes that off, this edge off over here. And come in and put a few more around this tree here. I'm painting all around this tree. I'm not painting the tree yet. I got the big trunk going up there. Down here in this area, we've got, guess what? We got more blue. So it's going to be more pure blue. I'm going to come in and just put in some ice. Like this. And make it darker. Looks like it might be cold. Thanks, Greg. I figured for the end of the year I would try something that's really different. I've been trying some different things all along, but this is really different for me, for sure. Take a, pull this down. Okay, got some. Pull that color out again, that lavender color back there. I don't know if you can even see that, but I put a little bit of that scarlet color in here to give us some of that lavender reflection. Okay. Under here, this is really, really dark. I haven't done it yet. So this is the under part of this bridge. And we'll just run it over there and kind of let it run out. All right. Interesting looking composition, I'd say. Just drop my brush on the floor. Hold on. All right. I think it's time to get a smaller brush and work on these trees. I'm going to use some of my dark umber. I haven't used my umber. I don't know if that's going to not look good with this blue. I'm going to use my burnt sienna. I'm going to put some Payne's Gray in it to get this dark color I want for these trees over here. And so we'll just start here and put this tree in. Needs plenty of paint. changing the color, changing the value. Okay, looks kind of scraggly right now. But you see, I've got all that white masking on there that I'm going to pull off. I'm not going to put in every tree and every branch and every twig. Try to get my script liner out here and put a few finer points in. So we'll throw a few of these in, let them crisscross. It's what helps make it look like it's got a lot going on. We'll let this dry, come back and take that masking off, and we'll try some more things here with it before we're done. All right. Then I want to make this a little bit softer down here. Don't want that edge to be hard, even though it got hard on me right there. I can put a little blue in there. So just, there's some shadow coming down here from these guys. Maybe too dark of a shadow, but we'll put it in there anyway. We've got some rocks and stuff down here in the water. I'm going to use the same, pick up my this brush, and we'll put in a few rocky looking things on the bank down here. All the way along here we've got spots for rocks and stuff along this water's edge. So it helps define that water's edge much better by putting a few of these dark things in here like this. We want it to define that edge so we can tell there's a difference between the reflections of the water and the water itself. We're doing on time, 38 minutes, not too bad. Okay, so I've got a lot of stuff going on here with this. I got this other tree on the other side. I might as well put a few of those. I got some heavy branches like coming in here. It's not very heavy. Get some more of this paint in there. There we go, like this. These are coming in from the side, and they've got branches that are coming up here and out here like this, where we've got snow on top of them, snow around them. So just try to imagine what this thing looks like. Hardly looking at the photograph now, I'm just sort of winging it. But kind of spindly. Like it could be heavier trunk going out here. Maybe like that. Yeah. So I'll have to work on this when we take that masking off. I'll have to work on that some more. In here, there's a whole lot of stuff. I think I'm going to save that, maybe use my sponges on that. All right, so I've got, this is not too bad. It's a little bit of a hard edge right there. I would prefer not to have, but it doesn't look bad on the TV, on the video. So let's see if I can put just a little more dark in here. I want these to sort of reflect down in the water here. And this bank goes across here. Should be giving some reflections. So I'll just sort of pull it down like that. And this area along here is dark. I got it already dark, but I want to make it just a little darker in some areas. All right. What else here? I think I'm going to go back and touch this up just a little more. It's really not dark enough back in there. Really has to stand out, look like the underneath part of that bridge. There we go. I think that's a little better. Got the darker edge along here. Got a darker edge over here. Water, maybe darken this down just a little bit more. All right. Over here, there's some other areas that have some, look like rockiness or something going on in here. So I'll put those in. When I pull that masking fluid off, they're gonna stand out. You can kind of see them showing up now when I put that on there. They're gonna show up better. All right, let's see here. A little bit back in here that's got some of that going on. All right, I think it's starting to look like a water scene. I think this needs a little more attention right in here actually when I look at it. And more blue in there. Pull it across. I want to just make it go. It's almost too dark, but it will lighten up. Okay, now it looks more like water, I believe. Hopefully it does. All right, where are we? This is all just going to put a few of these things that look like this would be the dirt or something underneath all of these branches that are going to be showing up when I take that masking fluid off. Okay, go back here and see what else I can do. This tree. Okay, I think I'm gonna change now and try out my sponges here. Let's see. Up here is where I want those sponges, and I want it to be a sort of a dark blue color. So I'm just going to get a bunch of my ultra blue here and see how this sponge has got a lot of little fingers on it. I don't know if you can see that. It's got a lot of little brushes. And so if I come in here and I stamp it out of my palette and then come up here and stamp it just once or twice, don't overdo it. Okay, that's that. Over here I got some more. I don't want to overdo this. This is sort of a trick, but it does help when you're in scenes like this to sort of finish them off a little bit, or at least help them show the type of trees we got. Up here, I'll put a few more up here. Okay. Right here needs a little bit more there. Definitely looks cool. Thank you, Good. Thank you. So we're using all kind of techniques today. We're using the liquid frisket, or liquid masking fluid as it's called, and sponges, and almost one color, two colors, three colors maybe. So I need to let this sort of settle down and dry a little bit before I try to do much else. I've got to take all this frisket off. Frisket and masking fluid are two words for the same thing. Sometimes I say frisket, sometimes I say masking fluid, but it's just, a frisket is just a way to block off an area of your painting that you don't want to get paint on until you're ready to put paint on it. So it's a generic term for anything that blocks the paint off. And masking fluid is a particular product that I've used here to put on here. That's what that yellow stuff is. All right, so now let me see if this is dry enough to, I think I'm going to get my hairdryer out. I'm going to blow this thing dry as much as I can, and then I'll take that frisket off. Oops, I should turn my microphone off while I do this. I'll be back. Okay, hope you can hear me again. I'm back. All right, so you can take this frisket off, masking fluid off with your hands if you want to rub it. There's also a little rubber type thing that you can get that has a, it's really just a rubbery thing that really knocks this masking fluid right off the paper. Just sort of picks it up and rolls it up. And you're not putting any grease or oil from your fingers on the painting when you're doing this. And it just peels up. You can peel it off with your finger and throw it away. You see a little bit of snow there that's gathered. Over here we've got these So we got our snow ridge on top. Thank you guys. Well, this is a particular way of painting that when you use this frisket, it's really good to highlight these areas that you want to stay white, and that's really what this frisket's really good for. We're here. I'm just about done, folks, and maybe getting tired of watching this, but okay, so you can see now how and here's all the stuff down here, that the really fine detail that's hard to see. Maybe it's going to stand out a little better now, but I got some of that darker paint behind it. All right, let me see here. So this is just called a rubber pickup frisket, or frisket remover. I think that's what they call this if you're going to buy one. Still have a little bit here, a little bit here. All right, I think I've got it all off of there now. So I can come back now and use my rigger brush and maybe my sponge again, and fine-tune some of this in here. And there's a few more standing over here. Put a lot of that stuff on with that fine liner. It's a nice tool. The only problem I had with it is you can see that when I touch it down, it kind of makes a glob, and then you pull it up. Everywhere I touched it down, it has these little blobs, which I'm not too happy with. But it may have been just the way I was using it that made it do that. All right, I think that's enough for that. How we doing on time? Well, we're okay. So time to get the script liner out now, and put a little calligraphy in here, and put a few more things to make the snow. Like this is snow back here, but it kind of looks just like a big white blob, right? So we want to put some shadows on that snow, so we give it some three-dimensionality. So the idea is that we'll come in and put some softness in here and some spots. That didn't look very good. I'm going to put some water here on the lower, just clear water. Probably won't have to do too much, just some clear water to make those things stand out. Put a few shadows in here and make it so it helps the wetting it down just helps it kind of blend together with what's there. And so when you come in with these little shadows to be underneath the, be sort of like a, well, shadow, yeah. I'm just going to put a few things that make it look like there's something making marks in the snow or making shadows in the snow. Over here we got some things that make it look like it's water. Let me see. Well, this is the time for a little bit of a splattering in this area will probably help loosen that area up. And if you put some water on, if you use a little spray bottle here to put some splatter in there, before you splatter, you put a little, just hit it with a few little squirts of water, and then come back with a very full brush and throw it in. It blends and makes a interesting dimension to that what the paint does in there. Some blur, some run together, some don't. Okay, these are sort of a fence type deal back there. Over here, I want to put a little bit more of this brown. I'm trying to fine tune this a little bit. Maybe too much, but make that stand out like it's a tree more. Okay. Up here we've got tons of little branches that we can throw something under to make it look like there's something holding that snow up. I did a little bit of it a while ago, but I just want to hit it in some areas and let the brush, so it just kind of tones it down a little bit so it's not just all stark white, so you don't just have a white tree branch there. You've got something that's under it or help holding it up. And that's a good time to come back with my sponge and hit a little bit darker colors in some of these areas here. Now this will give it more three-dimensionality. Remember, I've said before, if you get three values, light, medium, and dark, in any object, whether it's a tree, a branch, a house, a wall, you'll get more three-dimensionality if you get three values. So you see my three values are going on here, right? So I'm getting more, have the light value, the medium value, and now the dark value. So, and I probably want to do a little bit more of that over here in some of these areas too. Put in a few more things that look like trees. So I'm just darkening it down very slightly. Somebody asked a question about dark, I'm new to watercolor. Is it true that we have to avoid getting too dark? Well, I'll tell you, your name is Paul John. Every workshop I've ever taken, when the artist who's teaching me comes around, looks at my paintings, he says, "You're not dark enough. You need to make it darker." So I am always trying to make my paintings darker, and I don't always get it done right. I know I stand back and criticize my own stuff, and I look at it and I say, "Boy, I could have made that darker for sure." Down here's where I wanted some of that dark to show up again. So it's just putting a very light tone of snow or snow shadows in there. But this sponge is really helping. I don't have to do too much more to this. I think I've pretty well exhausted all my tricks for you guys. There's another question here. Let's see. Torch Singer, thanks for the tip. He says, if you have a tissue handy and wipe the tip of your mask liner just before touching it to the paper, you can get rid of some of those blobs. Yeah, I thought about that after I finished, of course. I was looking at first. I did have a paper towel, but it was, when I touched it, it's like it just wiped it all out, and it didn't work. So all right, I'm just messing now, putting a few more dark blobs in here, but I think that it gives a nice little, I could put just a few more over here. I don't have anything over here. There, all right. So that's going to be it for me for this today, and for this year. This will be my last watercolor, I think, unless I get a inspiration of some kind and want to try something again. But right now this is all right. Oops, there we go. Let me move it back over the other way. There we go. Okay, folks, that's my attempt. I could make that bridge darker. If I look at compare the photograph to the bridge, to the painting, I could make that a whole lot darker and it would make it pop out even more. And I may do that after the broadcast today, so if you want to try this yourself, work on it. And I'm going to have the more than just a sketch out on my website. I don't have it out there yet, but I'm going to have the first 3 steps that I did to get to the point where I started painting today. So you'll see the sketch, you'll see the step 1 where I put on the first masking fluid, then you'll see the second step where I put on the first glaze, and then you'll see the third step where I put on all this little fine detail down here, and then in the final painting. So I think I'm going to stop with that and say that's enough for this time, for this year. I want to wish all of you happy holidays and a very happy new year. And I'll see you in January. If I don't see you before, I plan to try to do this next year as much as I can, 2 paintings a month at least. And watercolor and oils is what I still plan to do. And so if you like this, give me a like. And if you like it a lot, share it with one of your friends, and maybe subscribe if you're not a subscriber. So if you like the music that was on here while you were waiting, Antonio Romo is a pianist that lets me use his music, antonioromo.com, so you can check that out. And hope you like this, hope you give it a try. And so until I see you again, this is Larry Hamilton saying so long for now. Bye-bye. Thank you guys for tuning in. Really had fun with this one.